We are live. Yeah, we're live, everybody. So far we got Irish Outlaw, Jay, and Buff, and Miss Quality Control is in here. We're on, obviously, my channel this week, since we're kind of swapping back and forth. Hey, Mrs. Square Buddy is in here. No, we're not having technical difficulties. We were chatting and then lost track of it for a couple of seconds. Imagine that. But yeah, this is on my channel this week. I'll be hosting it, but we are live with Perpetual Projects. We got Travis here live with us. Amber, Quality Control, she will be in the chats, making sure everybody does what they need to be doing, and also along with Mrs. Square Body stuff. Hey, Lars LP94 is here. Hello, Lars. Okay, well, maybe, yeah. All right, Irish. Well, whatever you say. And we got, oh, wait. Yeah. Yeah, Amber's here, Buff. Amber's here, keeping track of everything that's going on. So
you got Jeff and Faith.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, you're keeping up with the comments better than I am.
Well, I just got like 6 of them all at once, so I don't know if it's delayed or.
So we'll just kind of chat a little bit before we get into the subject. I mean, we've been chatting for a few minutes off screen. So you're in kind of what, northern, just to give the viewers kind of an idea where you're at. You're in northern Alabama, correct?
I am 5 miles from the Tennessee line in northern Alabama, north central Alabama.
So the weather's been fairly mild so far.
So far, we had a little cold snap beginning of the week, but it's starting to warm back up now.
Yeah, I think the way it's been going here lately, talking with you, our weather here in southern Missouri, you in northern Alabama, we're about like 5 to 10 degrees difference as far as the actual temperature. You're just a little bit warmer than we are, but Buff says it looks cold there, Travis.
That's because I ran all my heaters out of fuel earlier in the week, and I haven't went and refilled them yet.
Oh, there. Amber's
my breath tonight, so that's good.
Hey, we got Ugly Truck Experience in here. Jerry and Emily.
There's Ryan, Streetcar Chronicles. And Reloading Fun, JB's Little Shop.
Reloading? Yeah. What's up, Ryan?
I'm just outside of Huntsville, Reloading Fun.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody. It's showing like 16 people in here so far. Like I said, we'll just kind of, Travis suggested just kind of hanging out for a little bit before we really get into the topic, because, hey, Shellman. I'll get to that in just a second, Reloading Fun. Travis and I were explaining or talking about just kind of chatting for a little bit until we actually get into the topic of the night, which is the worst vehicular purchase you've ever made.
I think we should do best too.
Best and worst, which mine actually, I got to talk with Mrs. Squarebody, and mine kind of intertwined, the best and worst. But to answer Reloading Fun real quick on this comment with the 305. Right now, the 305 the block is machined. I've done a lot of work to it. It's going to be turned into a 339 stroker. It's I've got a lot of parts here. I've got a lot of stuff. I've got about everything ready to go. I just haven't had time to dedicate to start assembling that engine. I've got some machine work myself to do to it still yet, but we'll be getting to it this winter for sure. Right now, the Plan B 454 big block that's in Squeaky, we're going to have some fun with it this spring before I swap out back to the 305 or 339 stroker. We're going to have some fun with the big block first. Get some time slips with it, just to kind of get a comparison. Let's see. There's Jamie Hicks. Rabbit Transit Garage is in the house. He says, worst Cavalier, best 71 Duster 340. Got me hooked on A bodies.
That's a good one.
A body or nobody.
No, Reloading Fun can keep his Minnesota weather.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Sorry, that's too cold
Austin.
For me.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever. I didn't know you could do that.
Austin Cohen is my son, my other son, that's standing right here with me, and he's commenting because he's not real YouTube or social media savvy.
I've never seen this.
Yeah, Austin is the son of mine that's got that cherry bomb Duramax. It's still sitting in my yard that I haven't got to yet. So any new stuff on your channel, Travis, that you might want to comment before we get into the best and worst stuff?
No, not really. I don't know what my computer's doing here. Are you there?
Yeah, can you see me?
Yeah, it's freaking out. It keeps shutting the screen off. I don't know what it's doing. No, oh, this is not good. What is the problem here?
Well, I'm not sure if it's me. There's first responder garage. Austin's watching me live. Am I coming through fine? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's my computer keeps going to like a black screen.
Oh, okay. So going back to Reloading Fun here. Yeah, the 305, it's going back into Squeaky. I'm committed to that project and I want to see it through. I'm excited to see what the 339 stroker will do. I too am a big block fan. I love big blocks. If you're going to make power, it doesn't matter if it's big block Chevy, big block Mopar, big block Ford. If you're going to make easy power, go with the big block. No replacement for displacement. But the whole premise of this truck, the reason why I even kept it was because of the 305. And yeah, we're just going to kind of see the 305 project through to spending stupid amount of money on a 305 that no one else should ever spend on one, just to see what they're capable of, just to have fun. Now, I'm not the first one to do it, but we're going to do it, do it my way. We're going to have some fun with it. After the 339 stroker, after we have some fun with that, yes. End result, end plan is there will be a bigger, badder, big block going in this truck. Yeah. It'll be close on the horsepower. Torque, no, there won't be any question. That big block has way more torque than that small block will ever have. But that's why I want to keep the big block in there until I get some time slips with it, and then go with the 339 stroker, just to kind of see how the comparison is. Torque versus horsepower or torque versus RPMs. Because this big block, it's pretty much tapped out about 6,000 RPM. The 305, the 339, it's going to be 7,000 RPM plus, somewhere around there is where I'm figuring. So it'll be interesting to see the difference.
Are you going to dyno the 339 or no?
I'm going to try to. We're going to make sure that's another reason why I'm kind of glad I didn't rush it, because I'm going to have all winter to work on it, get it ready to go, and be able to schedule some dyno time with my machine shop. That way I'm not, not rushing anything. I can have some time, get it dynoed. I can get it broke in on my run stand, schedule a day with my machine shop, take it down there. It's already broke in. We can just get it on the dyno, get it set up, and run it. Ugly truck. On a 339, I've got a 750 Holly double pumper that I'm going to actually, it's the same carburetor that's on this truck right now. Is what I plan on running on the 339. It's what I have right now. On down the road, it may change, depends on how things go, but that's what I plan on running with. A 750 on a small cubic inch small block is plenty. It's borderline being enough for this big block, even as mild as it is. But okay, quality control is trying to be nice to get us going on the topic.
I think she's
but wait, we got J-Bo. J-Bo. Hey, J-Bo. Okay, so Travis, I'm going to let you take off with your worst vehicular purchase and your best vehicular purchase. So the floor is yours, Travis.
Okay, so we talked about this, and my worst purchase. So a little bit of backstory. I had wanted a twin turbo Dodge Stealth since I can remember. I always wanted one, and I thought it would be the coolest thing ever, and I thought they were just awesome cars. So I finally had an opportunity to buy one, and I guess we drove an hour and a half away to go get it. And I get there, and the car is a lot rougher than I thought it was, and I let my desire to have a Stealth override my sensibility, and paid way too much for this car. And then I got it home, and I fought with that car for 3 months trying to get it to run right. It started out with major overheating problems, and then by the time I finally got that figured out, it just had a solid miss. And I did a head gasket test on it. I was sure it blew a head gasket, and I just gave up, and it beat me. I sold the car for a huge loss, and then actually talked to the guy. The thing that he ended up having to do to fix the missing problem, all he had to do was put plugs in it. So I let it beat me with plugs and lost over half of what I paid for it, because I just got tired of it and didn't change the plugs.
Yeah.
So that is by far the worst car I've ever bought, as far as I lost money. I didn't have fun with it. I mean, I've lost money on cars, but usually you get to have some fun with them. That one it was frustrating from the time I bought it to the time I sold it, and I lost my butt on it. So that is by far my worst car purchase ever. I regret that every day. I actually regret selling it, because I think it could have been fun if I would have got it fixed, but I wasn't impressed with how it ran. And
spark plugs.
Spark plugs, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I call tunnel vision.
Yes.
You get wrapped up on the big stuff, and you forget about the normal wear and tear items. That you get tunnel vision on something, and you let it kind of beat you.
Well, and then you get it in your head that, so what happened is it was a major boost leak. And since it was a mass airflow car, leaking boost was messing up the fuel mixture. So it was running super, I guess it would have been running, I don't know. I would think it was running lean with as hot as it was, but it might have been rich. But either way, it was getting super hot. And we actually got it so hot one day that I was sure I melted it down. And then it kind of picked up the mist, or I noticed the mist after that. And then I found the boost leak problem, and that took care of the overheating issue. But then I was just sure that I damaged something when I got it hot. Spark plugs and drive shafts, yeah. No drive shafts in that car, just axle. Well, I guess it did have a drive shaft. It was all-wheel drive. So, but yeah, no drive shaft issues in that one. But yeah, so I was convinced that I hurt the motor when I got it hot. Yeah, I was disappointed with how it ran. It was probably because it was never tuned up and running right, but I sure expected it to be a lot more fun to drive than it was. So that's my worst car purchase. And my best car purchase is kind of a really funny one that you would never expect being a car guy.
Is it a little black Mustang you got right now?
It is not.
Oh.
It's worse than the little black Mustang.
Oh.
So my best car purchase was a 1998 Saturn I bought. Actually, I didn't even buy it. I got it for free. It cost me the fuel to go pick it up with the dealer with a bad motor. And I got it because I was going to scrap it. But when I got it, it was such a nice car. It was in great shape. And this is back in 2007, 2008, when fuel was out of sight. And I was driving a diesel pickup. And I'm like, well, this little car is free. It gets great gas mileage. I spent like $300 overhauling the engine and then drove the wheels off of it for, I don't know, like 10 years before it finally got wrecked. And that's why I had to get rid of it. Amber was driving it. She was stopped at a stoplight and somebody rear-ended her. But I built the motor in it and we drove it back and forth. I was living in Colorado and my kids lived down here. And so I drove back and forth. I probably made 8 trips back and forth to Alabama in that car. I upgraded it with cruise control, and then I lent it to I had a guy helping me in the shop, and I lent it to him, and he wrecked it. So I cut the whole front wrap off of it from the strut towers forward and replaced the entire front wrap of it one time, painted it. But, I mean, it wasn't a cool car, but it sure was fun. And for what I paid for it, I ended up getting more than I had in it when it got totaled after 10 years of using it.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. It's not a cool car, but that's the best car purchase I've ever made.
Yeah. Robert Magney says he got an engine dynoed yesterday. Disappointed with 409 and 375 horsepower. What engine was that, Robert?
I think that's that 408 he built.
Yeah. Amber's like, the car had 9 lives, kind of miss it. You know, I've had a couple cars like that. That's like, they weren't nothing special.
It's a moped.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But they done their job.
You want your friends to see you in it.
Yeah. And they done their job. They were great. They were great fun. So, I guess I'll go on with my worst. I'll go with my worst purchase was actually my crew cab, Buddy, the truck I've had for almost 20 years now.
Okay.
But if not because of what it is now, because of what it was when I bought it, and I should have never bought that thing. I traded a 2-wheel drive crew cab for it had zero rust. It had been rebuilt. It wasn't like a perfect rebuild job on the body, but there was zero rust on it. All the rocker panels, fenders, everything had been replaced. Had a nice paint job on it, kind of a dark metallic green. Had not really a flat bed. I call them a trailer bed because had the skirts and everything on it.
Okay.
454 4-speed, 456 gears. It was low geared, but it'd pull anything. So it was a 78. So I had that 2-wheel drive, but 2-wheel drive just didn't work for me because it would get stuck on flat ground. You know, yeah. It was helpless. So I wanted a 4-wheel drive crew cab. So I found this 84 crew cab 4-wheel drive on, I guess back then it was Craigslist. And so I made a deal with the guy. I kind of talked to him over the phone. Said, hey, I've got this 78 2-wheel drive, partial trade, whatever. So I put my truck on a trailer, borrowed a buddy of mine's truck and trailer, hauled it up probably like an hour and a half away, and just I knew this crew cab was not worth it, but it was just, I don't know. Being younger, I was like, I want a 4-wheel drive crew cab. It was a 454 automatic, no bed. It wasn't street legal by any means. Ran on 7 cylinders. I didn't really realize at the time, but the number 8 exhaust valve was burnt, and it was a piece of crap. And I never should have traded for it, because I gave him a perfectly running truck plus a couple $1,000 ish on top of that for a piece of crap I couldn't even drive on the road until I'd done something with it.
Oh, wow.
And that truck has been nothing but, for a long time, nothing but a money pit, and not really money. It was just a constantly fixing stuff on it. The wiring on it underneath the dash was a huge mess. I'd be driving down the road. Once I finally got to drive it, I'd be driving down the road at night, and I'd see sparks underneath the dash. It's like, what's that flashing? I thought it was a light. No, it was a bare wire, 12-volt wire, just hanging there, arcing out on the dash panel. It's like, oh my gosh, it's just been that truck was probably my worst decision of purchasing ever. But nowadays, what it is now,
yeah,
I can't replace it. I've been through almost every nut and bolt on that truck. I've raised all 6 of my kids in that truck. It's irreplaceable. But so it's kind of my worst purchase and also my best purchase, all wrapped up in one. But like you were saying about that little car you was talking about, I had a 91 Pontiac Grand Prix. We were just needing to kind of a get around car. Some people at church said, "Hey, we've got a car sitting here. We're going to scrap it. If you want it, if you can get it running, you can have it." I'm like, okay, I'll see what I can do with it. So I go to pick it up, and he lives in town. I live about 6 miles out of town. I go to his house. He's like, "Well, it'll start and run, but just don't run on all cylinders." He said, "I think it's got a blown head gasket." I'm like, "Well, okay." Well, I started up, and it's like, "Well, I think it'll make it to the house." So, yeah, I drove it to the house. He said, "There's something wrong with the transmission too, because it won't shift right." I'm like, okay, well, we'll just see. If nothing else, I'll scrap it out, whatever, give him part of the money or give him the money. I didn't really care. I just thought, well, if I get a good running car. But got it home. What ended up being wrong with it was a coil pack. I think, what was that? The 3100 V6? 30, it wasn't a 38. I think it was a 3100 V6. One of the coil packs was, one coil pack controls 2 cylinders.
Okay.
The coil pack was bad. And that, once I put the new coil pack on there, it ran perfect, shifted perfect, because it wasn't creating enough vacuum, because it still had a vacuum modulator on the transmission, control shift points. So being down 2 cylinders, it didn't want to shift right. So once I put a coil pack on there, and actually I stole a coil pack off of a Pontiac. No, it wasn't Pontiac. It was an Oldsmobile Silhouette van I had sitting in my little salvage yard. I pulled the coil pack off of it and stuck on this car, and it ran perfect, and it shifted perfect. I run the wheels. I don't even remember what I'd done with that car.
It's not still in the backyard, is it?
No. I mean, I drove it. I can't remember if I sold it or gave it to somebody or something, but I drove the wheels off that thing, because at that time I was working about 45 minutes away from the house, so I was driving it back and forth to work. I remember at work we would mess around the parking lot. I do the old, Rockford deal, go in reverse as fast as I could, lock the brakes up, spin it around, throw it down and low, and take off, and just had a lot of fun with that car and beat it up, even though it was my daily driver. But, it was probably one of the best ones I had. So
looks like Robert replied, the the motor he had dynoed was a 390 Mopar Stroker.
Okay. Yeah, here we go. Okay, there's reloading fun. Let's see. Uh-oh, what we got going on here? Oh, Buff's about to get a 98 Grand Prix GTP. Yeah, that's a little different story than the one I had. That GTP is supercharged. A buddy of mine had one of those, and it had some stuff done to it. It had a smaller pulley and some tuning done to it, and it's pretty wicked
My
for.
parents had one of those in high school, and we used to borrow it and drive the crap out of that car.
Let's see. I'm trying to go through some of these comments, see what I missed while I was yakking. Richard's asking about the station wagon we used to jump on in the prairie.
Well, that wasn't my purchase. That was his.
Oh. So Richard needs to tell that story. I guess you could tell it since Richard didn't here live with us.
So if I remember right, he worked on a car. I think it was a van. And part of the payment for working on it, he got this. I think it was like an 80s Chevy Celebrity station wagon with a 4.3 V6 in it. So we did what you do with the V6 when you're young and dumb and tried to blow it up.
Yeah.
So we drained the oil out of it, set a brick on the gas pedal. Well, no, I sorry. First, that was after we took it out to the prairie. So we went out to the prairie that was not too far from where we had our little shop. And the first thing we decide we're gonna jump this car. Well, I'm thinking, a little jump. Richard's thinking Dukes of Hazzard. So he goes piling across the prairie at this little jump. We used to jump on our dirt bikes, and we had to be going 60, 65 miles an hour when you hit that thing. I swear that car was 5 feet in the air. And somehow, when it landed, it kept running. So then we got the bright idea to try to wrap it around a pole, because there was some old, those big gates they put over at ranches and stuff. There was a couple of those out there. So we go over there, and we probably tried for 30 minutes to wrap this car around a pole. They're surprisingly hard to hit when you intend to.
Yeah.
And then we took it back to the shop and drained the oil out of it and put a brick on the accelerator pedal and let it run and run and run and run. And then finally we got tired of that, so we started dumping stuff down the throttle body, trying to get it, and we couldn't kill that motor. I think his dad ended up using that motor in another car. That little 4.3 would not die. But that's the story of the Richard, because I'll be honest, I was screaming when we hit the jump at 80 miles an hour or whatever it was, because I thought he was going to kill both of us. He didn't. Somehow we survived. He likes to tell that story because he was having a great time and I was not.
Yeah. I met Richard there in person at Sykeston. That was he's like he's not the guy that talk you out of stuff.
My daughter Haley says, how do you wrap a car around a pole on purpose? Well, you
don't say anything that might incriminate you on live. Hypothetically.
Yeah. Well, the idea was to go as fast as we could, turn sideways and slide sideways into the pole, but we really couldn't. Well, it's front wheel drive too, I think. So that was part of the problem. Yeah.
So in the chats, they're talking about Robert's engine they had dynoed. And let's see, okay, he said they'd only run it to 5,500 RPM. So I'm going to guess, I don't have the graph in front of me.
What does the graph look like?
But I'm going to say that graph on the horsepower numbers at 5,500 RPM was still going up. I'm guessing that engine should probably peak out around 65. So it probably had another at least 500 to 1,000 RPM to go before it topped out and laid over. So I'd say, who knows? It may be 425, maybe close to 440 horse on that thing, which is pretty respectable. And dyno numbers aren't everything.
I wonder where the peak torque was on that.
I don't know. Was it 390 cubic inch? Peak torque probably being around, I'm going to guess probably around 4,000, just guessing. Richard could do anything except blow up an airbag on purpose.
We got it done eventually. That was a bad airbag. The one that wouldn't blow up was just it had a recall, and it was a bad one. That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Yeah, Robert said he'll get the sheets. Yeah, hopefully this doesn't get misconstrued on, wanting you to prove your numbers. That's not what anything I've said about this. Your numbers are legitimate and not trying to get you to prove anything, just trying to get an idea of what's going on with it, because I really don't think the numbers are bad on that, especially at only 5,500 RPM. 400 horsepower on a 390 cubic inch small block. Yeah, not too bad. The cam, he showed the specs of the cam. It wasn't outrageously huge, and only 9.5 to 1 compression. So yeah, those numbers are pretty good. Be good street driving the engine, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, that'd be a lot of fun on the street. So they said it has Magnum heads, so it's got later model cast iron heads.
Sure, definitely not user error. Oh, I think she's saying something about the airbag issue.
Yeah, maybe.
That's one of them things where if you were working on a vehicle and you didn't want the airbag to go off, it would go off in your face. But trying to get one to go off for, YouTube stuff, then you can't get it to go off, which actually kind of made for a fun video, because it was. I remember watching that, and it's like, this is actually funny. You guys not being able to make it work.
You hear all the horror stories about you accidentally touch the wires and the airbag goes off in your face, and we were putting battery power directly to it and it wouldn't go off. Amber says, how many cars would you say you've bought so far?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's. I can't even.
I don't have enough fingers for that.
Yeah, fingers or toes or any other appendages that might be able to be counted on.
Yeah.
Oh, streetcar car 133. Every one of Ryan's is probably a really, really cool car too, because Ryan is the man.
They all have a nice paint job too.
Yeah. Yeah, Jamie. Yeah, I've got a lot of them still yet here that just here. I've got one. Well, this one sitting right here that I just bought a month ago or so that I haven't even really had time to mess with. I finally got it in the shop, so everybody keep an eye out for that on some future videos. Okay, let's see. Robert, peak torque was at 4,300. and peak horsepower 54. Really?
Hmm.
And it's a fresh engine.
Yeah.
And that dyno. That's the thing is actual dyno sheets are not the be all end all of what the actual engine's actually doing. You can have a happy dyno that really pumps up the numbers. You can have a really conservative dyno that it's really people. I think people get kind of caught up on the dyno numbers too much because really dyno is mainly a tool for tuning. See where you're at and add from there. Doesn't really mean a whole lot when it comes to actually implementing it in a vehicle. But it's still not bad numbers for I'm not sure what you're doing with the engine, but 387 horse, 408 torque. That's a really nice street engine. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and part of that dozen vehicles I have out there ain't even mine. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the one Mrs. Squarebody knows about, which she knows about all of them. I think she's being conservative on the 5 in the last 5 years.
I think so too, because I think
I probably had 5 since I've known you, Travis.
that's what I was thinking.
Maybe she means 5 drivable ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 of them out there are Shellmans. So, yeah, we've gone over our best and worst purchases. Where can we go from there?
How about any horror stories from purchasing a vehicle? Like maybe that you didn't purchase for good reasons or not?
I don't have any of those. Trying to think, mate, like regrets of not purchasing or no, I don't.
I've got
I have several that I regret selling.
Yeah,
which is pretty much.
Most of them are back when I was a lot younger and things that I should have held on to. I've got one for the horror story of trying to purchase a vehicle. It's actually 2 vehicles. We went and Amber and I found 2 Plymouth Scamps, which is a like the Plymouth version of the Dart Swinger.
Yeah, and those are
A-bodies.
for the non Mopar guys. The Dart Swinger, Dart Scamp, or the Plymouth Scamp. That's the base low end model, correct?
I think the Swingers and the Scamps are the nicer of the hardtop, like notchback type cars. The Duster and the Demon are the fastback cars.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, I think they're all. I don't know exactly what the Scamp was marketed as, but usually I think they're like a little maybe more towards the performance end of things. I'm really not sure. But my first car was a Scamp, so I found 2, and I'm like, Amber and I talked about it, and we decided it'd be a fun project for the channel. So we get loaded up in the car with all of our camera stuff, and we get the address, and the guy's been talking to us all day, and we're gonna go pick it up, and we drive an hour and a half away from the house, or an hour away from the house, and we get to the address, and we had messaged and let him know we were on our way, but didn't hear anything back. So we get down there, and the address he gave us is for a barbecue joint. And so we're like, okay, this is kind of weird. So we messaged the guy, and we probably waited there 30 or 45 minutes just messaging the guy. and he just ghosted us. I've sold stuff on Facebook and I've been ghosted as a seller. I've never been ghosted as a buyer.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
No. And then about 4 hours later, after we'd already got back home, he messaged, "So sorry, my phone went dead." And I'm like, that's probably my worst horror story from trying to buy a car. We were dumbfounded.
Yeah. Mrs. Square Body's helping me out here. Jacob asked how many four-wheel drive square bodies. Let's see if I can go back. How many square bodies do you have that are four-wheel drive? Okay. Here's Jacob's comment. That run, one. I've got Buddy, which is the one that runs, my crew cab. I've got my rock crawler, which the engine in it is in this truck right now. I've got the another four-wheel drive 1 ton for parts. And I got that half-ton short bed I bought not too long ago for parts. So that's 4 four-wheel drives. I got Shellman's four-wheel drive out here. There's 5 four-wheel drives. 6. I got another crew cab for parts out there. It's four-wheel drive. So 6. Yeah, I think 6 is the four-wheel drive number. Oh, Amber's loading us up with questions. She's keeping us on track here. Look at this. So, worst road trip because of car problems. I don't know. Do you have anything off the top of your head, Travis?
I mean,
yeah. If I want to just describe my worst road trip, it wasn't necessarily, we didn't have really a lot of car problems. It was just the car we were in. And Mrs. Squarebody knows all about this road trip because her son was stationed in Florida in the Air Force, and he had a 92 Camaro RS. It was originally 305 throttle body. They put a 350, left the injection, everything the same. Not everything worked quite right. When we got down there, because the plan was he's getting ready to be stationed to Arizona, and he didn't have any way to get the car back to Missouri to leave at his dad's place. So it was like, well, let's just fly down there. We'll road trip the car back and have, just have a nice road trip in a Camaro. That sounds great. That sounds awesome. 16 hours? Like, sure. So he said, the cooling fans wouldn't work all the time. So when we got down there, we kind of messed around with that. I said, let's just hook the cooling fans straight to a relay, straight to ignition. Whenever I turn the key on, the cooling fans come on. That way they're always on. It's on a relay. That works for me. I've had some vehicles that I've done that with that I drove for years like that. So let's just do that. So yeah, the first couple hours in that car was okay. It ran okay. It got a little warm in traffic a couple times before we even got out of Florida. But by the time we got to Georgia, we were done with the car. That was a long trip after that. It was just uncomfortable. And yeah, it was a long road trip. Oh,
Amber's over here writing notes. No, it's not moonshine. It's just water. I drink out of mason jars.
Like, whoo! Shit some of that stuff up here.
So
15-minute warning.
So Amber said white truck, Travis. Well,
every couple hundred miles.
So like that's
a mile per hour.
we didn't even have to walk. So it wasn't
so it's not an issue.
That's not a bad road trip. All it was is, so I had the bright idea, trying to chase a little bit better fuel mileage, take the big mechanical fan off of it and put electric fan on it. And we left the house. We made it 10 miles down the road, and the fan blew the fuse. So I replaced the fuse, turned it on, the fan blew the fuse. So I figured out that if I switched the fan off and on a few times, it would stay on. So I did that. And then we drove 90 miles down the road, and the switch melted. So I had to get another switch. Well, when I got the new switch, I ran the wire from the fan through the wing window into the cab and put the switch inside so I could use it. I could mess with it easier, and also put the fuse inside so I could change the fuse if we blew it going down the road. So that was the first part of the trip. And then it was running warm because the electric fan wasn't enough to keep it cool. And then, what happened next? I mean, none of it was really that bad. Well, then we made it. I think we didn't really have too many problems other than it was running warm until we got to into Mississippi, and it was starting to rain a little bit. So I turned the wipers on, and the little bushing that goes on the wiper motor broke. So then the wipers died in the rain. And then we stopped to get gas, and I opened the hood and checked the oil like I always do, and the belt was half shredded, so I had to change the belt there. But I had a belt with me. Richard brought up a good one. And then we made it about a mile from the house, and the trailer blew a tire, and I just pulled it in on the flat tire. So it wasn't really a bad road. We didn't even have to walk. But the one Richard's talking about with the Taurus going camping. So we took my dad's Taurus, and we were going camping, and it was up in the mountains. And this car, I drove the wheels off this car and never had a problem. But for whatever reason, going up into the mountains, going camping, it was not having, I bet we stopped every 10 miles. We dumped all of our ice for the camping trip all over the motor, trying to get it to run. And it vapor locked all the way there. And then it never, after that trip, I don't think it ever had a problem again. We might have put a fuel pump in it, though. I can't remember. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh man, we've actually got several good questions going on in comments. Well, I'm going to try to. We got 12 minutes.
Okay.
All right. So Robert asked about the fresh boiled peanuts. Yes, if you're not from the South and you've never had fresh boiled peanuts, boiled peanuts are awesome. They are awesome, and you got to get them fresh. The stuff out of a jar in a store, no. That's not the deal. Let's see. There's another one up here. Okay, so reloading fun. He has got a 489 big block and a mile 454. Do I put the 489 in the El Camino or the 3500 dually? I don't know. I'd put that's hard to say. You know, if you got a 489 big block and a 454 big block, I mean, which one do you put in what? The sensible side of me says put the 454 in the dually for a truck.
Yeah.
Put the 489 in the El Camino and have more fun. But then on the other hand, you can do vice versa, because that 454 in an El Camino is going to be just as much fun, and you're going to have more fun with the 489 in the dually.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know. Then Orange Sun, how did you first become interested in square body trucks? I'm probably guessing he's asking me that question.
I don't know why he's asking.
So I'll be really brief with it. I do have some videos. If you want to go back through some of my old videos, I've kind of gone over that through the years of why I'm doing what I'm doing with this channel. But the short and sweet of it is I've grown up in square body trucks my entire life. square body Chevy trucks or GM trucks have been a part of my life forever. Since I was at the earliest recollection, probably 4 or 5 years old, I've been in love with them, and I've been in them since then, my whole life. So they just always been like that one constant thing in my life. Depends on, whether things are good or bad in my life. Square bodies have always been that one constant source of, happiness, I guess. I mean, I've always enjoyed the trucks. They feel like home to me. And that's
Constant.
yeah, constant enjoyment of my life. And they could also be a constant source of frustration too. But, throughout everything in my life, square bodies have always been there for me. So it's a lifelong passion. I didn't just get onto the square body craze in the last 5 years, like kind of seems like a lot of other people are doing. Nothing bad about that, but this is nothing new to me. I'm 43 years old. I've loved square bodies. They've been in my life for the last 40 years at least. Let's see. Trying to go through these comments real quick, see if we left anything out. Taurus paper locked. I'm not sure what Amber says. She says, maybe the boiled peanuts. She don't like them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm siding with Haley. Boiled peanuts are amazing, especially. Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, especially the Cajun ones, but then she typed it too. So I think me and your daughter will get along pretty good. Spanish peanuts and Coke. Yeah, I've done the peanuts and Coke before. It's pretty good stuff. Reloading fun. I think he's talking about the big block conundrum he's going through, which if that's your worst issue you've got in life, man, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have there.
Let's see. Yeah, Jamie. I'm assuming he's talking about square body trucks. That's probably like the number one comment I get in person when people see my trucks. It's like, my grandpa or my dad or uncle or somebody had a truck like this. Reminds me of them, and it brings back good memories. So, Fat Butts Barbecue. Let's see what I'm LS swapping 85. Not real sure, buddy. I'm not real big on the LS thing. I haven't messed with enough of them, especially on the performance end of it, to know if that's going to help with your play in the rocker arms. But yeah, it would make sense that if you have hydraulic lifters, if it's not been pumped up yet, you're going to have a little bit of play in them. So that's the last comment I've got showing up. We got about 7 minutes. Yeah. Buff brought up a great one. And thank you, Buff.
I was going to say, somebody in the comments has got to know about the LSs.
Oh, yes. Actually, yes. Ugly Truck Experience. Go to their YouTube channel. Everybody, go to their YouTube channel. They're actually some good friends of mine. They're kind of local to me. I've hung out with them before, and they do a lot of LS swaps. And Jerry, I call him Professor Jerry. And that's what he does a lot. I just try to make fun of him a little bit, but so he does a lot of LS swaps. They're really good at it. They know a lot of the tricks to them. So go check out Ugly Truck Experience, and they will be able to help answer about any question you want to have about an LS swap. What's your most recent car purchase? Quality control. Yeah, she's grasping for straws for content right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine is this guy right there. That truck.
Mine is a blowed up 300. It's parts.
Yeah, go Fat Butts Barbecue. Go check out Ugly Truck Experience. They will.
Yeah, Buff put a link to their channel there.
Yeah, yeah. There's a link. Go check them out. They Professor Jerry knows his stuff on that. Oh yeah, quality control. She is letting me
mention that.
yeah, we haven't mentioned that yet. So in 5 minutes or less than 5 minutes, we're going to be continuing this live on another live on my channel. So just stay tuned to my channel. We're going to be going live, and it'll be an after hours thing. We'll allow some people in here to talk, live with us. We just want to kind of keep this first hour, just kind of Travis and I. Maybe in the future we'll have some special guests in, but at least for the first hour. So whenever we have this as a watch it again thing, you don't have to sit through like 5 or 8 hours like some of my lives to to see anything. So the first hour is going to be kind of straight to the point, good stuff. Hopefully, for people that want to rewatch it, the after hours, that's all up to you guys. So we're going to be starting that in about 4 minutes. So stay tuned on this channel, and we'll be, I guess, Amber, if you could please, because I'm not smart enough to do it, if you could find the link to that.
It's in there.
In the comments?
Yeah, she posted it.
That one right there? Okay. Thank you, Amber.
So Ugly Truck Experience says, if you have clearance after you tighten your rockers down, you have a problem.
Okay. Well, that will be something. I mean, I guess it depends on how much clearance, but I'm not real sure. So that would be something for them to know more about than I do. I mean, I know engines are engines and all that stuff, but not knowing exactly how much clearance, if they're just movable or if it's a lot of slack, or depends on what's going on. 8-hour lives are the best. Well, that's not going to happen tonight because I have to be at work at 11. So we're probably going to cut the after hours live off about at the latest 10 o'clock. So that's where I'll have to cut it off since it's on my channel. We'll pretty much just have to cut it off there. But, a 2-hour live is good enough. Dryer died. That sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
You getting ready to head, Austin? Okay. Love you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye, Austin.
He said bye.
Yeah.
Real quick, the only downside I think of the 489 versus 45 is longevity and usability.
I mean, it depends on how they're built, probably.
Yeah, I mean, really, and see, that's something I've been wanting to do. I want to build a 496 stroker for Buddy, my crew cab, but not basically on the same premise of what the 450 or 468 is. Just a bigger cubic inch truck engine. Nothing super rowdy, nothing high compression, but just have more cubic inches and have the same longevity as a 60 over 454 would have. So it's just kind of on let's see. I just kind of trailed off my train of thought there in the middle of a sentence, and I do that a lot. So I finished the sentence in my head, but verbally it didn't end up. But I'm trying to go through these comments real quick, see if we can catch anybody before we end off, because we need to be getting over to the actual live, because everybody that's in here now, go to the other live here in just a few minutes, and we could continue on from there, and we'll let some more people in here, actual live, and it'll be a little less structured. Maybe it won't get too awful rowdy. I've got to keep it somewhat tame because I got to go to work. Yeah, that 489 with 224. That's shoot. Yeah, I'd run that in a 1-ton all
That
day
sounds like
long.
a good truck motor there.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I got in this thing, except for it's just 454. All right, so yeah, quality control. It's time. Let's end this and let's go to the other live. It'll take us take me a few minutes to get switched over there. So let's jump over to the other live and have some fun there. See you guys. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you.